Walking into the grocery store used to be routine, almost mindless. But lately, it feels like a quiet battlefield. Prices are ambushing us in every aisle, and sticker shock has become the new normal. You don't need me to tell you that the cost of milk, eggs, and ground beef is jumping, sometimes spiking to 13% in a single year. That is a huge punch to the gut for anyone spending a big chunk of their income just to survive. We blame it on the pandemic, on broad inflation, but there's something far bigger and far more chillingly efficient happening just beneath the surface. To really understand this conspiracy of cost, we have to track one simple, everyday object: the tomato. For most of human history, food was the ultimate expense. In the late 1700s, people in Britain spent 75% of their entire income just to feed themselves. The French, around the same time, were dropping 70% of their money on bread alone. Agriculture was immense physical labor, involving entire families just to produce enough calories to stay alive. Then, after World War II, the world changed. A new global economic system was built, designed to connect everyone, making it too mutually beneficial for countries to fight. This was the birth of radical efficiency. The world started standardizing everything: the size of railroads, the size of paper, even the threads on screws and the lines on barcodes. This invisible stuff isn't sexy, but it was revolutionary. It meant a tractor part made in South Korea could snap perfectly into a tractor in Kansas. The whole world was being stitched together in ways our grain-trading ancestors could never have imagined. We call it the supply chain, and it's the invisible giant that feeds us now. But food, we think, is different. It's squishy, it's perishable, and it needs refrigeration. It can't possibly flow through the same advanced global network as an iPhone, which might travel through 43 countries before it even hits your hands. Well, you'd be wrong. Let's do a direct comparison that shatters our understanding of how commerce works. In one hand, I have a beautiful, locally grown tomato. It was grown just 5 miles from my house, and I bought it at the farmer's market for $6. And in my other hand, perfectly uniform, is its competitor. This tomato is a product of the global economy. It costs $2 a pound. How is it possible that the tomato that traveled over 600 miles is drastically cheaper than the one grown practically in my backyard? The answer is terrifying logistics, the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the system that provides us with our nourishment. The $2 tomato starts its life far south, usually in Mexico, where over 4 billion pounds of tomatoes are produced each year just for U.S. consumption. Out in those endless, fertile fields, often picked by hand, the journey begins. But there is a critical choice made right at the start. The fruit is picked while it is still green. It's nowhere near ripe. The mission here isn't flavor, at least not yet. The mission is survival. These green tomatoes are swiftly loaded into refrigerated trucks, a massive logistical challenge in itself to ensure the temperature remains perfectly controlled. This is where the wizardry of the modern system starts to feel like something out of a spy movie. Think about it. They need to coordinate the ripening of 4 billion pounds of tomatoes. They need them all to arrive fresh and red at exactly the right moment. The solution? Chemical intervention. The green tomatoes are ushered into huge, sealed rooms where they are gassed with ethylene, a naturally occurring plant hormone, to trigger the ripening process. This synthetic sunset allows the entire batch to hit peak ripeness just as they reach the grocery store shelf. Now, the clock starts ticking. A 620-mile, 9-day journey is underway. The truck pushes north, crossing into the United States not at a normal checkpoint, but at a specialized border crossing built just for commercial trucks. It clears customs. The trailer might get transferred to an American driver, and now the tomatoes are on a long-haul trip across America's interstate freeways. They eventually arrive at a distribution center, often a massive, nondescript building, in a sprawling expanse of what used to be farmland, like one in central Illinois. Here they are unloaded, scanned, repackaged, and then, finally, they're back on the road, headed straight for the vegetable aisle in your local supermarket. This whole invisible operation, the picking, the gassing, the chilling, the transferring, the scanning, took 9 days and covered over 1,000 kilometers. And the final outcome? A beautiful, fresh-looking tomato, ready for you to buy for just $2 a pound. That was crazy, right? This single tomato made it all the way from a farm in Mexico to a shelf in your town without being smashed or going bad, and it is somehow significantly cheaper than the tomato grown locally. This absurd result, the 600-mile journey beating the 5-mile trip on price, is the true face of modern global trade. The incredible efficiency of global standardization, combined with massive centralized processing, makes it possible to ship perishable goods, like avocados and tomatoes, all year round, even in the dead of winter, for cheaper than almost anything you can grow yourself. This vast, complex, and sometimes magical system is our food system. But here's the great irony. This same complicated structure, which makes food cheaper and more accessible than ever before, is also the exact system that makes our prices so incredibly fragile to shocks. If any single step in that intricate journey breaks down, if the farmers have a bad season, if the cold storage fails, if customs brokers get backlogged, if refrigerated trucks are in short supply, the price goes up, and it is you, the final customer, who pays for it. A drought in Canada affecting canola oil, a freak freeze in Texas, wiping out citrus crops, or the Russian invasion of Ukraine spiking global wheat and fertilizer prices. Each of these shocks reverberates through the entire system, making everything more unpredictable and more expensive. But while these shocks are undeniable, they are not the full explanation. The reason your groceries are truly painfully expensive is far darker, and it suggests that we've all been tricked. Because while we are all dealing with high prices driven by these complicated and fragile supply chains, certain massive food corporations are bringing in record profits. They're making their shareholders incredibly rich. The logistics are indeed terrifyingly efficient. But what happens after that long, incredible journey is complete is financially predatory. And that's a story for another time. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the systems that run our world. See you next time.